story titles, The House Behind the Last Street Light. The moment he crossed the threshold, the door slammed shut behind him. The windows fogged up, even though the air outside was crisp and dry. At first glance, the house seemed normal: old furniture, the scent of mold, creaking floors. But something was wrong. Every mirror in the house was covered with old cloths and newspapers, taped tightly around the edges. As if someone desperately didn't want anyone to look into them. Curious, Jonathan pulled down a piece of newspaper from a mirror. And in the reflection, for just a split second, he saw a figure standing at the base of the stairs. But when he turned around, there was no one. Only a cold gust of air brushing his face. He tried to convince himself it was just nerves. Sometimes, towns hide old secrets. Secrets that should have stayed buried. This story happened a few years ago, in a small, forgotten town on the edge of nowhere. Jonathan Miller, a young man fresh out of college, decided to spend the weekend at his late grandmother's house. The house stood far away from the rest of the town, right beyond the last working streetlight. Beyond that, only darkness and endless forest. The house had been empty for years after his grandmother's death. But the neighbors whispered that the house didn't like being alone. People who tried to buy or even visit it spoke of strange things. Footsteps in empty rooms, windows opening by themselves in the dead of night. Jonathan didn't believe any of it. He thought it was just small-town superstition. Until he stepped inside. Jonathan went upstairs to his grandmother's old bedroom. There, on a dusty table, he found a journal. The last entry was written in a shaky hand. They come when the light goes out. They live in the mirrors. Don't meet their eyes. Jonathan didn't understand it at first. But then, through the window, he saw the last streetlight flicker, and then go out. Complete darkness swallowed the house. For a moment, all was still. And then, footsteps. Slow, deliberate, coming from the hallway. Then from the stairs. Then, just outside his bedroom door. Jonathan locked the door and held his breath. But in the mirror across the room, he saw the door slowly creak open. And something stepped inside. Something wrong. Twisted limbs. Long, crooked fingers. A shape that didn't belong. It wasn't visible in the room itself, only in the mirror. The creature moved closer. Closer. Reaching for him. Jonathan screamed, bolted from the room, and ran through the house without looking back. Out the door, into the cold night air. Only once he reached the safety of the street did he dare turn around. The house stood there, silent and dark. But in every window, shadowy figures were watching him. Silent. Motionless. Jonathan never returned to that part of town. The streetlight was never repaired. And they say, if you stand outside the house at night, and you look long enough into the darkness, you'll see a figure turn its head and stare right back at you.